Republican Congressman Roger Williams from the state of Texas is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee. Joins us right now. Welcome, Congressman. You know, I guess maybe one way I could start off with you ahead of day 3 or night 3 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee is who do you think will be President Trump and then his running mate J.D. Vance's opponent at the top of the Democratic ticket at this point?
Well, it's Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden won their primary. He got 14 million votes. 14 million people want him to be president. I don't see how you take that away from him. They're always challenging President Trump of messing with elections, right? Well, they're doing the same thing if they take those 14 million people and make their vote not count. So I'm fully aware of what they want to do. They picked the wrong guy. They know it. The next person in line is just as bad. But there's 14 million people voted for the president, and I don't know what they're going to do with those votes and how they'll handle it.
Next person in line, I assume you're referring to the vice president. I want to play a short clip moments ago on the campaign trail in Michigan from Vice President Harris. Here she is.
The hallmark of any democracy is a strong competition of ideas, policies, and a vision for the future. And just as we must reject political violence, we must also embrace a robust discussion about what is at stake in this election.
You know, it's interesting, Congressman. That was her first comments, first speech she's made since the assassination attempt on former President Trump. She said that. What I want to focus with you on before you answer the question is what some in Milwaukee are saying. That's why I asked you who would be at the top of the ticket. I thought there was a focus last night on Vice President Harris from many of the Republican speakers. We have a few clips here. Let me play what they had to say, then we'll come back and talk about that. Here they are.
Who's ready to retire Joe Biden and border czar Kamala Harris and send her back to California? Who's ready for that?
Kamala had one job, and that was to fix the border. Now imagine her in charge of the entire country.
Joe Biden and the border czar Kamala Harris reversed President Trump's immigration policies and welcomed a third world invasion.
I don't know if it's hedging their bets, Congressman, but there was a lot of Republicans who certainly, especially as you heard there on immigration, were bringing up Vice President Harris.
Well, they are. I mean, that's who's next in line, right? And I can tell you, being from Texas, being a former Secretary of State of Texas, and is that, the real war is going on at the border. She's done that. I think she was the border czar. She'd been there one time. I think it was in a parking lot in El Paso, Texas. So that's what everybody's referring to. They have no bench, and they don't have the right mission. And she talked about democracy, but yet we get back these 14 million people. They don't want to count their vote, but they're talking about saving the democracy. So they're in the wrong spot. We're in the right spot. We deliver the message properly. I think it'll be a huge victory for Donald Trump in November.
All right. Give me a preview of tonight then before we let you go and shift back to Milwaukee. J.D. Vance, we just heard live from him moments ago. First time I think we've heard from him since he was picked by Trump, although he was on the floor at the convention. But we'll hear from him in a big way. Speech tonight. Young guy, well known certainly in Republican circles. Maybe, as always, you're not as well known, right, to the country when you become the nominee. I guess that's part of what the goal will be tonight. What do you expect?
Well, I think he's going to deliver a very professional, promising message. He's going to relate to young people. He's going to talk about the fact that he was a Marine, which I think is a huge deal. He's an author. He's had a movie made out of his life. He's had experiences, and he's a conservative. So I think he's going to do a great job tonight. I think when you see him and President Trump together, it's going to be a great picture of what's now and what's in the future for the Republican Party.
Is that how you look at him, as the successor to Trump?
Well, don't you have to? I mean, if you're the standing vice president in election year, unless something's gone wrong, you are the guy that will take the mantle. So I think you have to look at that. And I think most people do, and that's fine. We can, in 2028 comes, we're going to have a deep bench that's going to run for president, I would guess. But he will have done a good job in extending President Trump's future for our country, and then I think that he'd have to be considered the head guy for that. That's a long way off. We got to get him elected, get President Trump elected in November.
Yeah, it's a long enough way to November, more or less, to 2028. Congressman Williams, thank you, sir.
Thank you.